altered at all during the examination. So you create your image, it has a couple of hash values, and then if you go back a year later, 5 years later, 10 years later to that forensic image, it should always be the same, showing that we haven't changed anything. However, when you create the forensic image, it's not in human readable form, it's in computer language. So then you would need a tool, in this case, DVR examiner, to process it and put it so that it can be viewed. So you would create your forensic image, have it verified, you know it's correct, then process it with DVR examiner and have it, process all the video clips that are available, and then you can sort through and search for whatever you need to, whatever's asked of you by the search warrant and the requester.
And there's a timestamp on this video. Do you see that timestamp?
Yes, I do.
Now, in your report that's in evidence for the jury, you notate that there was an offset to the timestamp. Can you explain what an offset means?
An offset is essentially, in this case, that the DVR examiner, the DVR is showing one time and it's not accurate to real time. In this case, it was 58 minutes approximately, 58 minutes, 42 seconds ahead of real time. Excuse me. So you would then have to make sure you're aware of that so that when you're selecting video and looking for specific time frames, you know that your video is off by approximately an hour.
That Wheeler, we should go over there and assist. We don't want the circuit. Thank you, though.
So regarding the offset and the time, can you talk about that just briefly?
So here, like if you look in the top right-hand corner, you'll see the date, November 10th, 2020. You'll see that it reads 13:09:33, so 1:09 p.m., 33 seconds. That's actually 58 minutes, 42 seconds approximately ahead of real time.
Do you know how to get rid of the so it was 1 hour ahead?
Approximately.
And I think in your report you said it was 58 seconds. Is that correct?
58 minutes and
58 minutes.
roughly.
There we go. All right, I'm going to move forward to 13:09, 36 seconds. So this would have been really roughly 12, 11, and 36 seconds-ish.
Roughly, correct.
On November 10th.
That's correct.
Now, you weren't involved in the actual investigation into this murder or anything, correct?
I was not.
So as far as individuals that we see in this video, not really anything that you're familiar with as far as that?
No, sir.
Publishing what is still the 10th at 17. 17:32:40, and I'm gonna let this play for a second. And that's when I say 17:32:55 seconds, that's the video time, but actually real time being 16:32.
Correct.
So 4:30 Dallas time.
Correct. The time in the upper right-hand corner is the DVR's time.
I see an individual coming out at 17:33:36, getting on a cell phone. Does that individual appear to be wearing the same clothing that's in State's Exhibit 794 behind you?
Yes, sir.
Lights good.
And this individual is about to walk back into the picture here in about 8 seconds. You are law enforcement, and you still are. You're FBI, but that individual walked out of the picture with a phone in one hand. Do you see him walk back into the picture at 17:34:26?
Yes,
And do you see something in his other hand?
I do.
And what does that appear to be to you based off your training and experience as law enforcement?
That appears to be a firearm.
I just rewound it to 17:33:46. And this was November 10th, correct?
Correct.
And at 17:34:23, we see him walk in. Do you see what type of a firearm that looks like?
I would just object to, this individual was qualified as an expert in forensic extraction and digital evidence, and was not qualified as an expert on firearms.
If you know, if you don't know, don't answer.
I do not know what type of firearm it is.
Okay. Do you see what's on the base of it? What type of magazine or do you see that?
It would appear to be, yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry, sir. If I would just renew my same objection, he indicated that he doesn't know what type of firearm.
Your objection is sustained if the witness doesn't know what type of firearm or what the, whatever else is on the firearm, then he shouldn't testify.
If he does recognize it, Your Honor, can he?
Yes,
If you recognize anything attached to that firearm, do you recognize it?
It simply appears to be a larger capacity magazine.
Okay. I'm going to go over to camera 7 at roughly 18:02. Do you see a vehicle in that that portion of the video?
I do.
At 1806:43, we're playing now from camera 7, which again would be about roughly 5 p.m. in Dallas.
5:04-ish, 5:06, yeah, somewhere in there. Again, 58-ish minutes offset.
And at 1809, we see that car begin to move, correct?
Correct.
And you drive out of view in the camera 7. Going back to the other camera for that at 18. (1806:06). Do you see that individual again in 7:54?
Correct.
Excuse me, Your Honor, 794. I'm just going to let this play for a moment. Do you see this person, the same person exiting the house at 18:06:46?
Yes, sir.
And do you see what appears to be under his arm?
Appears to be the same firearm.
And we see that black car is moved now at 1809:36 into that camera view.
Correct.
I'm going to move over to November 11th. November 11th, camera 3. At 1348. See another car arrive, appear to be a different type of car.
Yes, sir.
And this is November 11th at approximately 12:48 p.m.
Correct.
Are you aware of what time the murder in this case took place at?
No, sir.
Do you see the individual entering the house at 13:48:45 with a backpack
Yes.
on?
Yes, sir.
Do you see his pants and his underwear?
Yes, sir.
And he's there with another individual.
Correct.
Now at November 11th at 14. Oh, 18 is when I start playing. Again, this would be approximately 1 o'clock, 1:10.
Correct. Approximately.
See that individual walk out carrying something.
Yes, sir.
Now, 14:09:20, that individual comes back out of the house again. And do you see anything in his hands when he comes back out at, I think, 22, 23-ish?
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize what that was in his hands?
I would only speculate.
Okay, well, don't do that. But you saw something in his hands?
Correct.
That was at 14:09:26. I'll go over to camera 7 at approximately the same time.
That's true.
And so this is that same camera angle that we saw from the previous night of November 10th. Is that correct?
It appears to camera 7.
I'll start playing at 14:02:27. Fast forward to 14:08. And at 14, 10, 12, what do you see going on in the video?
The two individuals are standing near a barbecue grill, burning something.
Now, just going through some of these slides, we have November 10th on camera 3 at 13:10. We've seen the individual outside with what appears to be a firearm in his hand.
Correct.
What color would you describe that underwear as?
Light blue.
What about the coloring of that firearm?
Black and brown, maybe.
Now, later that night, individual outside with something in his hand at 17:33:36 is in States Exhibit 757, 758, 759. We see him enter back in to the camera shot on camera 3 at 17:34 with what appears to be a firearm in his hand.
Correct.
Now, there's been what's been described as barrel drums, but you said a large capacity magazine. Is that fair?
Correct.
What I'm holding here has previously been admitted as States Exhibit 848. When you talk about a large capacity magazine, is States Exhibit 844 a large capacity magazine?
I would say so.
Okay. And is the kind of a street term for one of these a drum?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
But that's what it appears that firearm appears to have on it.
It would appear so, yes, sir.
Consistent with that, please.
Consistent, yes.
And how long were you in law enforcement?
21 years.
I understand FBI again, is it law enforcement, but. 750 or 760, 761 is the Camaro. 762, we have the individual leaving the house. 764, you can see he has something in his mouth, but carrying something in his arms. Is that fair?
Correct.
765, getting into that same black Camaro. 767, leaving that house at 18:09:20, which would have been roughly 5:11 p.m. on November 10th. Is that correct?
Correct.
States Exhibit 768. We see that individual wearing. Can you describe the underwear that person has on?
Light blue.
And that's at roughly 13:48:42, which is roughly 12:50 p.m.
Correct.
on November 11th. In States Exhibit 770, we see that individual walking out of the house at roughly 1:10 p.m. with something in his hand.
Correct.
772, we see him going to what appears to be a grill. 779, something in his hands with that's white and red in color.
Correct.
776, the two individuals at the grill. 778, pouring something into the grill. 779, we see something beginning to burn. Is that fair?
Fair. Correct.
780, something burning as well.
Correct.
Now, there's other still shots from later in the evening. 781 is at 18:09, so roughly 5:01 p.m. or 5:11 p.m.
Yeah, roughly about 5:10, 5:11 p.m.
Can you describe what the two people in that picture are wearing?
The male is wearing black pants and a long sleeve blue shirt. The female is wearing like yellowish green shorts and a black t-shirt with a design across the front.
752 is an individual leaving at 9:13.
50, yeah, about 9:06, 9:07
Okay. Okay, sorry.
ish.
Math's all. Now, jumping ahead and I think it's 783. This is 1122 at 1637. But these are all the photos that have already been admitted through you.
Correct.
See an individual getting into a silver car, States Exhibit 786 at approximately 4 p.m.
Yes.
789, we see that individual in that jacket again going back to that silver car with getting a backpack, and 790, 791 going back to that car,
Correct.
792 talking to somebody,
Correct.
793 is just taillights on a vehicle. Is that fair?
Fair. Yes.
Yeah, I'm done playing videos for the moment.
About 12:21, do you have much more with this one?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a 1 hour lunch break and be back here at 1:30.
All right.
Oh, thank you.
Y'all can sit down.
Maybe this way and step down for lunch.
Yes.
Thank you.
Since this was from yesterday, would go get back in.
That's what I was doing, yeah, keeping them by days, but I have a feeling I'll have to. Sit up to that.
Your job's hard enough.
Have any exhibits on the county? On this side. Could have been admitted already.
I think we're good.
I was just trying to help her out.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. I would just leave on, since he's still in the stand, is it okay to leave here?
Get them to the-
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
And this, you're gonna want this back.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Do you need us to do anything with anything?
No.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
People along the courtroom. Everybody. something?
Oh, with
No, talking to.
I was just gonna grab the microphone.
Okay, come on.
Firearms in here, it's like, can't have those just, sitting out.
Thank you, Judge. We'll see you in a little while.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Thank
Yes, ma'am, you too.
And we'll figure it out over the weekend. That way you guys can be done.
How many vegetables are you? Less. That's it. Yep. Okay. Thank you. Mayo, mustard. Okay, cool. Stop asking. Andy called me. Hey, we could take IB 21 down the court. And they're off for an hour lunch break, so I'll give you a call back. Thank you.
is that we live in today, everything from cell phones to computers. You have both consumer devices like those, and you have data that's coming from surveillance systems, as we hear today.
They have to build this story, right? So that the jury could connect the dots. And so there's
Got through a lot of stuff very quickly, and we didn't go into all the processes that are involved in it. But hypothetically, I'm a detective, I have a search warrant, I have the DVR, I bring it to you, here's a search warrant to search what's maintained in it. Can you walk this jury through an extraction of a DVR?
So in our world, I probably refer it to as imaging as DVR. Forensic images are more, kind of appropriate for hard drives and such, whereas extractions are more commonly linked with cell phones. So for a DVR, as I said earlier, it comes in, it gets assigned to somebody. In this case, it was assigned to me. I take the DVR out, I do my physical inventory of it, and open it up, look at the inside, what type of hard drive does it have, size, model number, take photographs, all that kind of stuff. Prior to that or during, I'm also comparing it to the search warrant. With the search warrant, I'm going to look and make sure the one that it lists the DVR or however the search warrant explains, it gives me the ability to look to that DVR. So I've got to stay within the four corners, as it's referred to, a search warrant, make sure I don't go outside my boundaries. Is what's being asked of me covered in the warrant? If it is, then I proceed. And like I explained, I would take a piece of hardware that is going to write block and make sure I don't write to the DVR. I'm going to get a pristine forensic image. It's going to have the hash values we discussed as far as kind of digital fingerprint to make sure that I can go back to my forensic image, a day after, 10 days after, 10 years later. If I run it again, it'll show that I never altered the image. So the image was pristine the entire time in that case. In this exam, that was all accurate. But that's just a forensic image. If I gave you the forensic image, you wouldn't be able to do anything with it, as far as reading it. You would have to have a tool to process it. In this case, I used DVR Examiner. You take DVR Examiner, you connect it to your image, and let it process all the video and put it out by date, camera, kind of all that type of information that you would want to know. From there, again, it depends on the detective or the investigator. Do they want specific video? Do they want everything? What are they requesting? You have to make sure if you have the ability to get your offset, in this case we did, to figure out is your DVR time and date accurate. If it is, great. If not, how far is it off, so you kind of know what you're looking for. And then you're going to export all those, whatever's being requested of you. For DVR Examiner, when it exports the video, you have the option to have a hash value with each and every video. So again, I can export the video, present it to defense or to the district attorney's office or the AUSA's office. And if they look at it, they can go back and check a day, week, a year, and make sure they didn't accidentally alter the video somehow. Because I've got the MD5 message digest, is what that is, hash value from when it was originally extracted from the DVR. So you've got that. And then when you export all the video, you'll have all the video come out. You'll have a DVR Examiner report that will list all of your videos, clip information, dates and times, and then the hash value.
Okay. Just since you talked about like the date and time, the offset in this case at 58 minutes, is that uncommon to have a time off on a DVR specifically?
No, because if you think of DVR, if it's connected to a network, then you might have more accurate time that gets updated all the time. If you have a DVR that you set up on, January 1st of a specific year, and then it just sits there and never connects to a network, never gets adjusted, over time, kind of like an alarm clock or a regular clock, it's going to lose a second here, lose a second there. If it's not adjusted for daylight savings time, you may lose some time there as well. So it's not uncommon.
And the Earth rotates at 365 and a quarter days, I think.
Sure.
And that's sort of a leap year every fourth year.
Correct.
And then we also have daylight savings. So time gets thrown off if you never adjust it.
It does. And so that's why we try to identify something stable. Can we identify something in there that gives us a reference to our offset? Sometimes if the DVR is password protected and we can't actually pull it up and see what the accurate settings on there. I've had instances where I've requested from the detectives, can you tell me the first time an officer arrives on scene? Because usually they arrive on scene, they notify dispatch. Okay, well now I've got, I see the first officer on scene. They told me the first officer arrived on scene at this time. Okay, now I've got a point of reference and I can see if my time and date is accurate or not.
And so there are ways to do it, but in this case, you didn't have to go to that length to determine the offset.
Correct. This one was not password protected, so I was readily able to see the date and time that it displayed.
Now, as far as an extraction of a cellular device, how is that the same and or different than doing a forensic image of a DVR?
So there's a couple differences. The procedure is still the same. You're still checking search warrant, still doing physical inventory of the phone. Is it on, off, whatever? Where the biggest differences come in is that when you obtain an extraction of a cell phone, well, it has to be on to do that. By and large, there's old ones, maybe not, but it has to be on. And so that's when you're getting that extraction, unlike a hard drive that's off, that extraction you get is a one-time hash value that you'll get for that. So if I obtain an abstraction on a specific date, again, say January 1st, if you went back to that phone and want to do it extracted again, well, you're going to have to power on the phone. It's going to start changing things. So the next extraction you get, that will not change. However, when we obtain the extraction, whichever one we do, it's encapsulated and you can hash value that. So then again, my extraction, then it's similar. I can go back to my raw extraction. I can run that hash value 1 year, 5 year, 10 years later, and it should match, showing that nobody's altered that extraction in any way during processing or examination.
But every time if you were to do a new one, turn on phone, turn off a phone, there's new data, the phone cycles, there's all kinds of stuff that connects to the network potentially.
Potentially. Now, when we extract a phone, when it comes into the lab, we do whatever's necessary to remove or limit any network connectivity. We don't want to connect on the network. Physical SIM card you take out. You can put it in airplane mode, great. If it's something that's got to go straight to a machine, we try to get it straight to an extractor machine to do that. And then we use a couple different tools. Some of the well-known brands you may have heard are Gray Key, Magnet Gray Key, Cellbrite. Those are the two kind of largest extraction devices out there. And you'll take it, you connect it to an exam machine that's running one of those softwares, and you go through the process. Very simple. You follow the instructions on the screen. Do this, do that. Get your extraction, save it to a drive. It's going to give you a hash value, and you move on. And then again, if I gave you just the raw extraction, you wouldn't be able to plug it in and do anything with it without something to process it. Again, put it in something readable so that you know what you're looking at.
And is that what's been already admitted, that readable format?
Correct.
How, once you provide that either to district attorney's office, the U.S. attorney's office, a law enforcement agency, well, let me backtrack real quick. When you do an extraction of a cellular device, do you comb through and look for evidence as it relates to a case, or are you just pulling all of the data from the phone?
So two things come into play there. One is the search warrant, like I said, or whatever legal authority. It could be consent. And the other is the request from the investigator. So we put those two together to figure out what we're going to do. A lot of times these days, investigators are a little more familiar with some of the tools, and they'll say, can I just have what's referred to as a portable case? With Cellbrite, it's called a reader report, and it kind of puts everything to where they can go through it themselves. And so if maybe a narcotics investigation, I may not be up to date on all the lingo and narcotics investigation, all the stuff. Well, they're going to do that themselves. And so we give them this portable case, and they can go through it. They say, well, this, and they can make their own tags. This is important. This is important. This is important. And then they can create smaller reports from there that are more specific to their investigation. There are times, if you might think of maybe a child abuse case or something that it's more specific, more understandable, they can say, no, we would like the examiner to go through and look for images or videos or evidence related to this specific offense. And then we go in and we do our own analysis and provide similar results, but we're the ones that comb through it and do the exam. Most forensic examiners would prefer that second one, where we have a little more control going through and being able to later testify and say, this is what you have. A lot these days is investigators wanting to do it themselves, and so they ask for a portable case.
In the example you give, child abuse, so whether it's crimes against children, a child pornography type case, where there are certain things that the investigator is looking for that might be something where they lay that up to you.
Correct, and they would just be specific in what they're looking for. It wouldn't just be go find a bunch of images. They would need to kind of, we would work with them and say, what is it you're looking for? What do you need? Is there time frames? Is there, specific, if you're looking for messages, are you looking for messages from a specific phone or contact, so that we can narrow it down so we don't turn around and just say, oh, here's everything. They can ask for that, and we will provide what they ask for and what the warrant allows for. We would prefer to do more of a forensic examination if given the choice.
And in this case, what were you asked to do?
So on this one for the DVR, for example, originally the initial request came in to ask for video on November 11th, I believe. In further discussions with the detective, you have to allow for, again, the time offset, but midnight could be video starting a couple hours before. So you're kind of looking at the 10th and the 11th. Once he saw some of the video that was located that seemed responsive to his request, then he also requested all the video that was available. And so that's why in my report, I have two kind of exports. I have the selected one. Here's the specific video he asked for that he found relevant. And then here's the second amended part of the request where he says, well, I want everything so I can review everything within that DVR.
And assuming, in this case, the warrant allowed for everything to be extracted and examined, then you provide everything.
Correct. I mean, if the warrant had been specific to say only these dates, if he would have asked for everything, I would have had to say, well, no, your warrant only allows for these 2 or 3 days. You need to either go get another warrant or just understand that I'm not going to be able to provide that. And that's up to the investigator.
And so the warrants itself, again, you weren't asked to, outside of the first select videos, as it relates to the DVR only, it was just initially the select date and time area that he was looking at, and then you provided the entire copy based off of what the warrant allowed, correct?
And his request, yes.
Okay. Now, as far as the cell phone extractions that you did you do a forensic examination, or what was the request for, and what did you do?
Again, the request was just the portable cases so that he could go through it himself.
Now, you've talked about investigators, prosecutors who are familiar with the case can use that portable case and then make smaller copies.
Correct.
Of selected things. I think this jury's already heard about some selected text messages from one extraction already in this case. Is it fair to say that cell phones these days are getting quite large?
And that would be fair. That'd be accurate.
I think mine may even have more memory and space than this computer that's sitting in front of me.
More than likely, yes.
And so if we were to print, let's say that, I think Apple's about to have a new phone in September maybe, but if they have a new phone and you were to print out every page of an Apple, a year from now, if I get that new Apple iPhone, I know this is a terrible hypothetical, bear with me, we'll get there. I get this new iPhone in September. A year from now, you do an extraction on it. Let's say I'm on it all day long. Potentially, how big could that, if you printed out every single page from that extraction, potentially how big could that be?
I mean, that would be thousands upon thousands, maybe million pages.
Hundreds of thousands.
Exactly. No, absolutely. I had a case years ago and they did try to put it in a 3-ring binder, and that was 10 or 11 years ago. And it took a very large 3-ring binder, and that was much smaller phone. So no, it would be huge.
And so as it relates to, like, in this case, I haven't printed, or I haven't shown you every printed out page from the 4 phones that you've done or anything like that, correct?
Correct.
Now I didn't want to forget one thing. This morning you grabbed me and you said, hey, just want to let you know, I found 2 typos this morning going through my report.
Correct.
And what were those 2 typos?
Probably copy paste issue where I identified the Night Owl DVR as a Night Owl Swan. So that Swan was probably just something hanging over. And then in imaging the DVR, I referred to the Toshiba hard drive in the first paragraph. In the second paragraph, I referred to it as Hitachi.
Which it was not.
It's not, but I just noticed
Typographical
that.
errors,
Correct.
Doesn't change the substance of your report or any of the examinations. or
No, sir.
extractions. Okay. Now, you weren't asked to do a forensic examination of the contents of all these phones. So an investigator or detective or agent who did go through the portables could testify potentially to the things that actually came from these phones. Is that fair?
Fair.
If they know.
If they're aware of every aspect of what they're testifying to.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, you may.
I'm just going to show you what's been marked as states 1140 and 1141. Take my notes off for myself. Would you please take a look at 1140 and 1141?
I mean, this is portions of a reader report, kind of like that smaller report we're talking about. It's not all the content, but it's some.
And so each tab there in 1140, those were from, y'all assigned specific numbers, and that number would be not only on the disk that contains all of them, all of the extractions, correct? But it'd also be on the back of the phone.
It'd be on the back phone. It'd be within our report of examination. You'll see how I refer to it within our report. So here it talks about the read reports for, and then it lists DL 114291 through DL 114294. And the DL is the beginning of the barcodes that we were using at that time.
So the phones that are in evidence would be marked on the back DL 11, so on and so forth. And these smaller reports are from in 1140 are from DL 114294. Is that correct?
One of them is, yes.
And then 1141, how about that one?
I would have to go back for my reports. I don't know which phone you gave me. From my examination notes would have the unique ID. It's an iPhone 7, so it's either.
Use your notes.
That's what's going to have the unique ID. There's a unique ID within the read report that corresponds to my extraction. So on this first page, I would know that this is mine because it's going to correspond to my notes.
Would it help refresh your recollection by looking at your examination notes?
It would, because this is a very lengthy alphanumeric combination. I don't have that memorized. Okay, so this one is for DL 114291.
And that's marked as, what does the front of that binder say?
1141.
Okay, 1141. And how about the other one?
So this is DL 114294.
So the one 1140 ends in 94 and 1141 ends in 91.
Correct.
Your Honor, I'm going to offer a state's exhibit 1140 and 1141 for record purposes at this time, previously tendered to the defense counsel.
Thank you. Would you describe it again for the record?
Yes, 1140 is some smaller generated reports from DL 11-42494, which is an iPhone. and 1141 is some smaller reports that have been generated from DL 114291, which is another iPhone. And both of those entire extractions have been previously admitted in
The
states exhibit.
specific iPhone is referenced in the DL incident 4.
We can ask Mr. Morris to describe the specific cell phone. For the one ending in 94, which specific iPhone is that?
It is a white and silver Apple iPhone SE.
Okay. And the one ending in 91?
Black Apple iPhone, I believe it's a 7.
No objection for record purposes, Your Honor.
States exhibits 1140 and 1141 are admitted for record purposes.
I'll pass it over to Sean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Morris, I think that you described two different types of extractions that maybe it's your company, maybe it's all companies like yours can do for law enforcement. Is that right? Where you are extracting and you're creating a report and analyzing, and then you said that there's something called a portable case.
The portable case, yes, could be used in either one, but we have kind of two different methods where I'm asked to do the bulk of the examination and provide results, or basically, can you just give us a copy of everything in the phone and we'll do the analysis ourselves?
Right.
Is that okay?
And so, and you're saying that that's something that law enforcement can potentially ask you for, is that right?
The-
The portable case?
Correct, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that, it's inside of the parameters of a search warrant generally, right?
Correct,
But ultimately, you can create a copy of something and then give it to law enforcement, and they can look at it, manipulate it, decide what things mean, put things together, and that doesn't have anything to do with you.
correct. I don't like the word manipulate, but yes, you're correct. They can go through it and identify what's relevant to them. Absolutely. Yeah.
Right, and decide how things fit together, and that doesn't have anything to do with you.
Correct.
And as far as you know, when they're doing that kind of thing, it's really just on them, right? In other words, you have oversight when you're creating a report, right?
Correct.
You have like peers that review it, is that fair?
Well, we do peer review on 100% of ours
Okay,
going out the door.
okay. But what I'm saying is when you are charged with doing a forensic analysis and then generating a report, when
Correct.
that's on you, not
Correct.
when you created a portable case, but when you're doing it,
Mhm.
you create that, you're doing all of the checks, you are doing the analysis as per the request that's been made of you, correct?
In addition to the search warrant, yes, correct.
And yes, you're combining those two things to make sure you're inside of the appropriate parameters.
Correct.
And then you generate a report, correct?
Mhm.
And then that report is reviewed by another qualified forensic examiner
Correct.
to ensure that your work or the conclusions that you drew make sense.
Correct.
Okay, but when you do a portable case, you are having a peer review check that you, I guess, created the portable case correctly, right?
Correct. All of our steps, yes, ma'am.
All of your steps.
Mhm.
But once it goes to, when the whole extraction, without your forensic analysis, goes to a police officer or law enforcement, that's outside of whatever you have going on, right?
Correct.
And you don't know what protocol they have, right?
Correct.
And you don't know whether or not they have a peer review process, right?
That's correct.
And whether or not they're putting things together and somebody else is checking that to say it makes sense, right?
Correct.
In the same way that you do.
Well, I'm doing more forensics. So that's why we do ours. As far as kind of reading the results, you're right. That is totally on them.
Okay, but forensics just means that you're pulling something that already existed, like almost in like a time capsule, right? Like you're not creating anything, it's not anything new, it's whatever existed at the time.
Correct.
That's what you're talking about.
Correct.
And you can do an analysis of that then goes through like a scientific method.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes.
And all I'm saying is that when you create a portable case and then hand it off in totality to somebody that doesn't have that scientific method, that doesn't have anything you no longer have any control over how that is dealt with, how any of that information is dealt with.
Correct. And that's why I said we prefer to do what you're describing. We prefer to do the forensic, and have a little more control over it so we can have a better understanding of what we're putting out there.
Right. And furthermore, there is a reason that in your profession, there are these steps, right?
Correct.
Because the steps were created or put into place because it protects against all kinds of different things within, digital evidence, right?
Correct.
And so really, for example, in your organization, you would never produce something or put something out that didn't go through your steps.
Correct.
And so you can't testify here today or ever about how, say, law enforcement, once you give them a portable case, how they are treating that forensic information or how they're interpreting it or whether or not it is sort of generally accepted in your forensic community and things like that, right? Because they're not a part of your forensic certified community.
Sure. So if I'm answering correctly, I can testify that, for instance, a text message came from my extraction. We can go back and I can testify and say absolutely. Now, how it's relevant within the overall investigation, you're correct. I don't have that information for a situation like this.
But you can say that something came from your extraction, but you can't put it together with anything else you can simply say things, we extracted this, and that's all that you can say.
On this one, it was a very straightforward, we would like this information, and I say, here you go, here's your information. So yes, absolutely.
And
This was what I would refer to probably, and I think a lot of forensic people would agree, it is a more fairly basic level, clean cut search and find, if you will.
right. But again, you don't have anything to do with once it leaves you.
Correct.
Once you create that portable case, it doesn't have anything to do with you.
Correct.
So, and then as it relates specifically to the DVR in this case, you had indicated that there was a 58-minute time difference offset. Is that right?
Yeah, I think 58:42 roughly.
Okay, and in your report, you indicate that the instrument identified that. Is that right? Initially identified that there was this offset.
No, in my report, what I did with exam notes and everything else is once I had made my image of my hard drive, so it's pristine because I don't want to turn the hard drive or turn the DVR on yet. I want to get my.
I just want to stop you because maybe I'm not asking the right questions. I just want to make sure that we're just getting the answers to the questions that I'm asking.
Absolutely.
So, you indicated there was a 58-minute and some seconds offset.
Correct.
Okay. And you indicated that the DVR was not password protected.
Correct.
And you received that DVR on what day?
It was received February 4th, 2021.
February 4th, 2021.
Correct.
And you sort of knew, at least a little bit, that there was something that you were looking for that may or may not have occurred back in November of 2020, correct?
Not until I was assigned the case.
Not until you were assigned the case. When were you assigned the case?
That would have been October
Of what year?
2021.
So you received it in February of 2021.
Correct.
It got assigned to you in
October.
October of 2021.
Yes.
Was it assigned to somebody else in between?
No.
Did anybody else work on it in between?
No.
And then you generated a report about your analysis in, I think it was November of 2021, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so when it comes in February of 21, it just sits in a storage locker or closet or whatever
In the evidence room.
in the evidence room of your facility?
Correct.
Who, anybody, I'm assuming that's a locked, secure facility?
Yeah, yes, you're within an FBI secure area already, but then within there, again, it's also limited access into the evidence control facility.
Okay, and then, is the, device on or off?
Off.
And it kind of just sits there?
Correct.
You explained that turning it on, you realized that it wasn't password protected, correct?
Correct. After imaging the hard drive,
After
not prior
imaging
to.
After you imaged the hard drive, you determined that the device was not password protected.
Correct.
And that's the device that's not password protected, not whatever. I mean, you know that because you created an image of it. I mean, I don't get the connection that you're making between I made the image and then I learned that it wasn't password protected.
Sure. So again, I don't want to turn the DVR on before I make my image. So you remove the hard drive from the DVR, disconnect it, you create your image, plug it back in. Now we turn it on because it's kind of like a phone. If it's off, nothing's changing. So the DVR is off.
Okay, so you
Is that, and so then once I've made my image, now I reconnect the hard drive, turn it back on, and then that's where I determine it's not password protected and I can see the date and time displayed on the monitor.
okay, and so the date and time that displayed on the monitor, once you turned it on, you had determined was 58 minutes and some seconds off.
Correct.
Okay. And and then you also determined that you could manually manipulate the date and time.
I didn't change the date or time. I don't,
No,
maybe I
I'm not
misunderstand
saying
what you're
you
asking.
Did it. I'm saying if it's not password protected, somebody could go in and manually change the date and time or adjust it or correct it or whatever.
Yeah, if you plug the DVR back in and it's not password protected, somebody could go in there and change things.
Okay. And so you don't know whether or not before you received it, anything like that occurred.
Correct. Prior to its arrival and me inventorying it, I don't know the history of it.
Okay. So, but what you can tell us is it doesn't require a password to make those types of manipulations.
That's correct.
You, I believe, said that you worked on the cell phones. You did the forensic extraction of the cell phones using CART-approved hardware. Is that right?
Correct.
And what? And also software.
Correct.
Okay. What does that mean?
So CART within the FBI, I'm part of the CART team. It's an acronym, an older acronym, which stands for Computer Analysis Response Team. So I'm part of the CART team. All of our tools, before we use them, have to be approved prior to them touching evidence.
Okay. And so what's the process to test and validate the hardware and the software that you're using?
All testing and validation is done at the FBI headquarters. It was in Quantico, now in Redstone. And prior to them allowing us to use the tool, they have an entire unit up there that tests and validates the tool.
Okay, and so do you have sort of the logs related to the testing and the validation of the tool?
We do not know. That would all be stored with headquarters.
Okay, and when was the last time that the tool that you used was tested and validated?
So for these tools, this one, I would have to go back in 2021. But prior to any version, and as you may be aware, Gray Key or Cellbrite, they come out with a software update. So there may be multiple versions throughout the year. You have to do that because every time an app updates or a phone updates, an operating system updates, you have to start changing your software to address it. So there's multiple versions that get released throughout the year. None of those versions get released to our network where we can access them until they've been tested and validated. So as far as a date, every single one would have a different date. Does that answer your question?
I obviously don't care about ones in 23 or 24 or 25 because that's not when this analysis took place.
Sure.
So the only ones that I care about are in 2021, right?
Sure.
And certainly some between October and November when you were working on this particular piece of equipment.
Correct.
So my question to you is, but prior to whenever you started working on it, When was it last tested and validated?
I couldn't answer that question. I'm just not in test and validation department.
Okay, and so that's like totally separate from you.
Absolutely.
And it just, but you can appreciate that the logs of that and making sure that the instruments are accurate, it's not for somebody to just take your word for it, that it's important to have that information. Is that
Correct.
Do you
And
agree with me on that?
absolutely. And that's why we have an entire unit dedicated to that.
That unit is not you.
Correct.
And then, inside of your report, you have images. Do you recall embedding images into your report? For the DVR?
Could say just make sure I'm following. So I create a report of examination, and then through the tool, a DVR examiner, it also creates a report. So I just want to make sure I'm understanding which one you're
It's the
referencing.
one that you have in your hand right there.
This does not have any, well, no, this one has images. Sorry, I misunderstand what you're asking. These images, yes,
So those have the date on them, correct?
correct,
And they have a timestamp, is that right?
correct,
And that timestamp, according to you, is 58 minutes and 42 seconds off.
correct.
And then the date on the top of those pictures, those are just, what is that date? That date is related to what?
That's the date that I was working on this and extracting, I believe. Yeah, from the extraction report. I'd have to verify that, but I believe that's what it is.
Okay, so the dates that are just embedded above the image, you're saying those are the dates that maybe you were working on it?
Correct.
Okay, and those don't have any relationship to?
No, they're not within the image, no.
Okay. I'll pass this.
Just very briefly, Your Honor. You don't work for a company, correct?
Correct.
I know it's asked on the cross. The company you work for, you don't work for a company. Who do you work for?
The FBI,
That's the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
correct.
As far as the evidence that's been placed in this talk of manipulation and what people can do with a portable case, what you've provided and what's in evidence are the full extractions of the DVR and the cell phones that you extracted, correct?
Correct.
And did you verify that those are the extractions that you did?
So not only on mine did I verify them, but, and maybe I'm misunderstanding the question, when I created the external hard drive for those retired examiners, when I created those, I didn't just copy paste the data onto the drive. I used a tool that, again, hash value verifies everything it takes from the original and putting it on the hard drive. May not be what you're asking, but
That is what I'm asking.
Okay.
Right? And so I believe they'll hear from, the jury's going to hear from Jackie Northrop, who's now retired from the FBI,
that's correct.
and Thomas Tedder, who was the director of the NTR CFL prior to you, correct?
Correct.
And so they, of course, don't have access to FBI files since they're not FBI employees anymore.
Correct.
So, and I guess we kind of skipped over this, but when you do an extraction or make a forensic
Image.
thank you, you provide typically 3 copies, I believe.
Usually we try to give them multiple copies, one for law enforcement, one for kind of maybe just throwing to evidence, then one for district attorney's office. There may be some, and we've had them where we also get requests from defense, and we may provide a copy of them as well.
And so the ones that are in evidence now, and you and I have had other trials together where I've come over to you at the FBI's office and I've like, here's a disc, and you're like, I'm not going to testify to that. Is that fair?
Correct. He's brought a disc that you or somebody has made, and to try to slim it down, and he brings it to me. No, that's not my disc. I didn't make that disc. I don't know what's on it. If I'm going to testify, I have to testify to my own disc or hard drives or whatever that may be.
And so in this case, what's in here are the full extractions that have not been manipulated. They are forensic copies. I don't even know if copies are the right word. Forensic.
They're full. They're full. Correct. They're copies. The only, just to be accurate, these are not the raw images or the raw extractions. Those are the derivatives.
And these are exact duplicates of the ones
Yes,
that you maintain over at your office.
correct.
And you gave those to me, you've initialed them, Ms. Northrup, Mr. Tedder, they've all initialed theirs as well.
Correct. And even with those, when we get requests, whether it be from the defense or prosecution, it's not just make a copy and they come by and pick it up. I don't know if I had them here. There's going to be a report and there's going to be examination notes for every one of those, even though it's just a copy. It's still going to have a technical report that goes with it that says, here's the tools I used, here's the validation I used, verification that everything was the exact same. And even those go through peer and admin review.
I'll pass it over, Your Honor.
Thank you, defense. Any further questions?
May I have just one moment? And I just want to make sure that, I mean, and I don't want to belabor the point, but your job is to forensically extract information from digital devices.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's accurate. Yes, I
I
mean,
mean, in other words, you don't have anything to do with determining what happened.
correct.
You don't have any responsibility in, knowing why something happened.
Correct.
And in fact, you don't have any information about, the parties, the people, the whatever involved on anything that's alleged on November 11th, 2020.
Correct. We're objective. Here's what you asked for in this case.
And therefore, you can't identify any of the people. I mean, you can say that this picture is the same picture that I extracted, but beyond that, you can't say this person's this person or that person's that person.
Correct.
I'll pass the witness this time.
Thank you. Anything else for this witness?
No, Your Honor, nothing further from the state.
All right, may this witness be released?
No objection.
No objection.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State, call your next witness.
State calls Juan Hernandez.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I swear.
Thank you.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Juan Hernandez, first name Juan, last name Hernandez.
And how are you currently employed?
I work for the Mount Pleasant Police Department.
Where is Mount Pleasant?
It's about a 2-hour drive east on Interstate 30.
And how long have you been with the Mount Pleasant Police Department?
A little over 17 years.
Now, this jury has previously heard what it takes to become a certified police officer, training, field training. Is that kind of the same thing that you went through?
That's correct.
And what is your current position?
I'm a narcotic sergeant.
Were you working the night of November 23rd of 2020?
Yes.
Do you recall what you were doing that night?
I was working highway interdiction on Interstate 30.
You said highway.
Interdiction.
What's highway interdiction?
It's basically the enforcement off of highway, and we look for people that are transporting drugs, large amounts of U.S. currency, et cetera.
Is that common kind of out where you are?
It's very common off of Interstate 30, yes.
Do you recall stopping a vehicle that night?
Yes.
What kind of vehicle was that?
Gray Challenger, Dodge Challenger.
You want to approach?
You may.
Okay, Mr. Hernandez.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 627 through 767. Can you please review these photos and see if you recognize them?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 630. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes.
And how are you, oh, go ahead.
It's an in-car video from a patrol car.
And that's your signature at the bottom?
Yes, ma'am.
And you previously viewed this disc prior to today?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 631. Do you recognize that?
Yes.
And what is this?
It's a body cam footage.
And do you think that these photos and this video will help aid the jury in what investigation that you conducted that night?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Your Honor, at this time, State moves to offer State's Exhibit 627 through 676, 630, and 631 for all purposes and things.
Say that again. 627.
Yes, Your Honor, 627 through 676.
627 through 626.
676
Okay. All right.
and 631 and 630 for all purposes. We don't have an objection to the photographs, which are 627 through 676 is what we have as the photographs. These are audio and video recordings that we believe contain hearsay. And so we would object to any of the hearsay that's contained on either of these two discs. And then
630 and 631.
this is gonna be, well, this says 372. No, okay, but. Oh, okay, okay. 631 and 630.
Yes. Your objection is that's to hearsay.
Our objection is that we believe that these two exhibits contain hearsay, and we would be objecting to any of the hearsay that's on here. If they want to redact it or play it without the hearsay, we don't have any objection.
Okay. I mean specifically hearsay from who? These are,
Any-
these are, this officer's, in-car video and body cam.
Correct.
There are other individuals in the vehicle who are saying things.
Yes, Your Honor, I do plan to skip over that portion of the individual that is not the defendant or this officer testifying, speaking.
Okay.
Can
You
we-
have to redact it if it's going to be admitted into evidence.
And then also, can we approach briefly?
Yes. All right, y'all go back to your tables, please. Go back to your seats, please.
So for the record, Your Honor, the defense is objecting to the hearsay that's contained on those two state's exhibits.
Court will sustain your objection.
Officer Hernandez, can you please explain, around, or I guess that night you were on patrol and you said you saw a vehicle, speeding by?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember roughly around what time that was?
It was around 2:39 a.m., I believe.
And this was on November 23rd of 2020?
Yes.
And what did you do once you saw that vehicle speeding by?
Pulled into the highway and sped up to catch it and activated my lights and pulled it over.
Could you tell when you were trying to catch up to that car roughly how fast it was going?
The first time that I saw it, I couldn't. I just noticed it was traveling at a high rate of speed. And then once I got behind it, my front radar indicated he was going 110 miles an hour.
What is the speed limit at that stretch of the highway?
It's 75 miles an hour.
At that point, did you initiate a traffic stop?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you do next?
Once the vehicle stopped, is that what you're asking me?
Yes, sir.
Approached the passenger side of the vehicle.
And were you able to observe anything?
I made contact with the driver and the passenger, and immediately I detected an odor of raw marijuana emitting from the inside of the vehicle.
Did that driver identify herself?
Yes,
What was the name that he gave?
KEWON White.
Do you see Mr. White in the courtroom today?
Yes, he's right there.
And if my co-counsel is sitting in seat 1 and I'm sitting in seat 2 and so forth, what seat is Mr. White sitting in?
Seat number 5.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant in open court.
The record will reflect that fact.
What did you do next once you smelled that odor of marijuana?
I did a quick scan using my flashlight from the outside of the vehicle, and I noticed there was contraband in plain view. In the mid console by the shifter, there was a bag of marijuana, and there was also a firearm on the floorboard right next to the front passenger's feet.
And you said that there was a front passenger in the car?
Yes,
And that was a female?
yes.
What did you do next?
I immediately asked Mr. White to step out of the vehicle and stand in front of my patrol car.
And then what?
He exited, and I asked my partner to go ahead and detain him for safety purposes based on the weapons we had observed and the marijuana.
And then what did you do?
I asked the passenger to step out as well, and she complied.
What steps did you take next in your investigation?
Went ahead and once he was detained and she was out of the vehicle, went ahead and conducted a search of the vehicle.
What were you able to find in that vehicle?
I located 3 firearms, AK-47 style rifle, a Taurus pistol, and a Glock pistol. Found over a pound of marijuana edibles, THC edibles, and about 16 ounces of raw marijuana and some U.S. currency.
Do you remember roughly how much U.S. currency?
It was 3 bundles and several loose bills as well. But it was over $9,000, under $10,000. I can't remember the exact number.
Who were you with that night?
I was with Corporal Guerrero.
And was Corporal Guerrero with Mr. White while you were searching the car?
Yes, he remained with Mr. White.
And what happened next?
Once we got through searching the vehicle, we collected all the items as evidence. I placed them in the front seat of my vehicle, and then Mr. White was transported to the police station for an interview.
Sorry, Hannah, just a moment.
Yes. Are those, state's exhibits, what exhibits are you got, like 630 and 631?
No, Your Honor, this, I'm going to show right now 627 through 629. And then I will show State's Exhibit 632 through 676.
Okay, state's exhibits 627 through 676 are admitted without objection.
Permission to publish?
Yes.
Okay, Officer Guerrero, I'm showing you, oh, sorry, Officer Hernandez, I'm showing you this has been marked as State's Exhibit 626, or 627. What do we see here?
Looks like an aerial map, like a Google map from the area of Dallas. I can see Interstate 30, and then I can see Mount Pleasant on the right side.
And Mount Pleasant is, if you see where the cursor on our screen, it's to almost to the right side of the screen, is that correct?
That's correct.
And we're just here to show you the distance between Dallas to Mount Pleasant. Is that here?
That's her.
And State's Exhibit 628, is this a closer view of Mount Pleasant?
Yes, ma'am.
And 629, is this a closer view of where you would have first seen that silver car speeding by?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 632. Is this that silver car that you saw?
That's correct.
And you took these photos on the side of the highway that night, is that correct?
That's correct.
633, what do we see here?
It's the interior of the passenger side of the vehicle. As you can see, there's a backpack, multicolored backpack sitting on the seat.
634, is that just a closer view?
Yes, ma'am.
635, what do we see here?
That's where I opened the backpack. As you can see, there is narcotics inside.
And did you ask the defendant about the items here?
Yes.
And did he claim ownership of anything that was in the car that you found?
Yes, he did.
What were the items that he claimed ownership to?
All of the narcotics that I found and 2 of the weapons.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 636. What do we see here?
That is the interior of my vehicle, front passenger seat. That's where I placed the weapons and the money.
637.
Yes, that's the seat. There's a cell phone and 2 bundles of cash.
Do you recall where you found this bundle of cash?
Those 2 bundles were in his front pockets, front pants pockets.
State's Exhibit 638.
That is the driver's side of the Challenger, sorry.
639.
That's a photograph of the front end of the Challenger.
State's Exhibit 640.
Yes, that's the passenger side of the Challenger.
State's Exhibit 641.
And that's the back displaying the license plate.
State's Exhibit 642.
And that's the driver's side.
State's Exhibit 643.
Yeah, that's the back seat, I believe.
State's Exhibit 644.
That's the floorboard.
645.
The floorboard right behind the passenger seat.
We see that there's a bag towards the upper left corner. Do you see that?
Yes.
Are you able to read what that says? But there's a screen to your left, but that's a little easier to see.
Manhattan jewelry, I believe.
State's Exhibit 646.
Yeah, the back seat.
State's Exhibit 647.
Those were clothing items that were found in the vehicle that we photographed.
648.
That is the trunk of the vehicle right in front of the speaker box.
649.
That's a photograph of 2 of the weapons, the AK-47 and the Taurus.
And what
It's tan and black.
State's Exhibit 650,
That's a photograph of the Taurus pistol.
State's Exhibit 651,
That is a photograph of the serial number to the Taurus.
State's Exhibit 652,
That is what I'm holding in my hand is a high capacity AK-47 60 round magazine. And then you can see the AK-47 on the bottom lower corner, as well as the Taurus, one AK-47 round, U.S. currency, 2 high capacity magazines, a small bag of marijuana, and the front of another pistol.
State's Exhibit 653,
That's just a close up of the AK-47 rounds.
654,
Magazine, bag of marijuana on the right side, and U.S. currency on the left side.
State's Exhibit 655,
That's a photograph of the Glock that was found.
State's Exhibit 656,
That's a close up of the serial number to the Glock that was found.
State's Exhibit 657,
That's one of the bags containing marijuana and loose U.S. currency.
State's Exhibit 658,
That's just U.S. currency.
and 659,
More U.S. currency.
State's Exhibit 660,
One of the close up of one of the bags of marijuana that was found inside a bigger bag containing marijuana.
State's Exhibit 661,
That's a close up of one of the larger bags of marijuana.
State's Exhibit 662,
This is where I opened the bag. As you can see, there are clear baggies and a $100 bill.
State's Exhibit 663,
That's just a close up of the backpack that was found.
State's Exhibit 664,
More U.S. currency.
State's Exhibit 665,
More U.S. currency found in one of the bags within the backpack.
State's Exhibit 666,
A high capacity magazine for a Glock pistol that was also found inside the backpack.
State's Exhibit 667,
You can see a rubber band on the right. Right next to it is a unspent cartridge.
668, is this a closer view of that unspent cartridge?
Yes, ma'am. That's a close review of the unspent cartridge. It's a 5.56, 223 round green tip. That is actually an armor piercing bullet there.
You said what?
It's an armor piercing round
Why do you want to make that distinction?
because it's identifiable by the green tip that lets you know that it's an armor piercing round.
State's Exhibit 669, is this a closer view of that?
Yes.
And this is where we see with the 5.
Yes, it shows the caliber 5.56 by 45.
State's Exhibit 670,
That is a clear baggie containing marijuana. That's the baggie that was found in the mid console by the shifter.
671,
Bundles of U.S. currency and a, I guess, fake or dummy grenade, you can call it.
672,
Those are the THC edibles that were found in the bag.
673,
It shows the promethazine and the bundles of money, as well as other items that were found in the vehicle.
674,
This is a close-up of the bundles. Once we counted them and put them together, and then the magazines and the 3 weapons.
675,
That is a receipt containing items that were purchased at a pawn shop.
you see up top, it says Manhattan Jewelers, is that correct?
That's correct.
And can you read the name that's written on that receipt?
Yeah, it says Banzo Bling, Jerry in quotations.
And can you see what the description of those items would have been?
Item number 1 is a diamond ring valued at $1,750 or $1,750. And then a gold chain valued at $1,650.
And what date do you see on that invoice?
It's November 22nd, 2020.
This would have been the day before?
That's correct.
State's Exhibit 676,
It's just basically an overall photograph of what we found in the vehicle.
Your Honor, at this time, state would offer State's Exhibit 630 and to publish with the agreed upon times with counsel that we spoke about earlier.
That's fine. This is with 630 is admitted as with that.
As as well as 631.
631 admitted as redacted.
Permission to publish?
You mean?
Officer Hernandez, can you see that this is the in-car video that you were in that night?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, is it possible to dim the lights?
Yes.
Pause just a moment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, it's the seizure report from Sergeant Hernandez.
And this is for the money that was collected from that stop?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, State offers State's Exhibit 677, 678, 679, and 680, as well as State's Exhibit 1144 for all purposes.
Your Honor, the defense is simply going to object. There are a number of calls on here that are totally unrelated to any allegation pending before this jury. So we would just be objecting to the voluminous nature of the calls. I know that there may be some specific calls that the state intends to play. And we generally wouldn't have an issue with those calls, but there are calls on here that have absolutely nothing to do with anything. And so we would object to the relevance of those calls.
What is the state's response?
Your Honor, we will just put State's Exhibit 677 in for record purposes at this point, and all the rest of the documents in for all purposes.
Does the defense object to that?
I don't necessarily have an objection to that, Your Honor. I just would want to know,
Do you have an objection to that being, admitted for record purposes on the 677 that you're objecting to? Jail calls, various jail calls.
I don't have an objection to it being admitted at this time for record purposes. I just want a point of clarification that I can do later. But I do want to get a point of clarification about, I guess, what calls are gonna become relevant
I have
to the
no
state.
idea.
Neither do I, which is why I wanted to know.
Sex exhibit 677 is admitted for record purposes. Sex exhibit 678 and 679 are admitted for purposes.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I just have one moment?
Yes.
Okay, Lieutenant Nichols, I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibits that has been already admitted as State's Exhibit 675 and State's Exhibit 676. These have already been admitted. Do you recognize these photos?
Yes.
Okay, and then are these just tiny photos of the photos that you see in 675 and 676?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, permission to publish State's Exhibit 1144?
You may.
I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 1144. Are these the number of bills and the denomination that was collected from Mr. KEWON White on the night, or are the early morning hours of November 23rd?
Yes, ma'am.
We see that there are 28 $100 bills,
Yes.
63 $50 bills,
Yes.
43 $20 bills,
Yes.
102 $10 bills,
Yes.
354 $5 bills,
Yes.
66 $1 bills,
Yes.
and two $2 bills. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
We'll pass the witness.
Yes, Your Honor, very briefly. Sir,
Sorry, hold on, 1 second. Was 1144 admitted?
For all purposes?
you know what, Judge? I don't know that we weren't gonna have an objection to it, but I don't know that we addressed it, so we don't have an objection.
You didn't tender it, but you tendered it. It's already before the jury. And the defense has no objection, so State Exhibit 1144 is admitted for all purposes.
As well as 678, 679, and 680 for all purposes.
Yes, those were admitted. 677 through 679.
And Your Honor, we'll pass
No,
the
hold on 1 second. 677 was admitted for record purposes only.
677 for record purposes. Yes, Your Honor.
But 678, 679, 680, and 1144, Your Honor, would be for all.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. I'm sorry, sir, when you sat down, you're a sergeant or a lieutenant?
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant, yes, sir. And you have some experience, or are you currently assigned to narcotics?
Over narcotics, not assigned necessarily to the division. No.
Okay, when you say over narcotics, what does that mean?
So you have the Criminal Investigation Division, and they are under my command. So you have narcotics as well as the detectives that we have.
Okay, so do you get to that position because you've worked your way up through the ranks?
Yes, ma'am.
Has there been any part of your career where you worked narcotics?
Only street level, nothing as far as being assigned to the narcotics division.
Okay, you've come into contact with narcotics and drug sales?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you have some, you said you've been a police officer for 20 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so through those 20 years, have you had an occasion All right, have you had many occasions to come into contact with people that either sell drugs or use drugs?
Yes,
Okay. Have you come into contact with people that sell drugs?
yes,
And when you're selling drugs, is it often that you may have what looks like large amounts of money, but they're small denomination bills?
occasionally.
Okay. And so, to be fair, maybe do people that sell drugs kind of do that to make themselves look like they have more money than maybe they actually do?
Yes,
And in, excuse me, sorry, I don't want to be tricky. Thank you. And in the state's exhibit number 1144, right here, we have some money that was seized. Is that right?
yes,
And that money was seized from a traffic stop that involved KEWON White. Is that right?
correct.
And there was lots of things that were taken, right? But I think you have to do a special form if there's like money that your department intends on seizing. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, because this is money that if you were to be granted, then it goes to maybe city services or department services and things like that.
Correct.
But you can't necessarily do that with like actual narcotics that you may take.
Correct.
Right. So you could just only take those and dispose of those, but the money can do something else.
Correct.
Okay. And so in this instance, we have hundreds, 50s, 20s, 10s, 5s, and 1s, right?
Mhm.
And there are two $2 bills. But out of all of those different denominations, this is going to seem like a silly question. What is the one that has the most? I do this with my daughter a lot. Which one has the most? Which denomination has the most bills?
As far as the most bills, you got $5 bills.
$5 bills. And then what comes next?
Next would be the $10 bills.
And then this one is a little bit close, but the next one
Would be the $1 bills.
$1 bills, okay. And there was also drug, and so those are really common low-level drugs, drug dealer denominations. Is that fair?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And there's a lot of bills, right? If there's 354 $5 bills, that's not that much money. Is that fair?
It's a lot of fives. Yes.
It's a lot of $5 bills, but how
Yeah.
much money is it?
350. So you're looking at probably $1,600.
Yeah, you're very close. I wouldn't have been able to do that in my head. $1,700.
Yeah.
But anyways, the point is that if you have 354 bills, that looks like a ton of money, right?
That's a stack of money.
But at the end of the day, it's really just $1,700. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. And then you also are aware that actual drugs were confiscated. Is that right?
That's correct.
And there was some property that was confiscated that was like packaging. Is that fair?
Yes.
Where somebody might take a large amount of drugs and put them into individual packages. Is that right?
Yes.
And then if they do that, what are they generally intending to do based on your training and experience?
If they have packaging material, they usually sell it.
Okay. So obviously all that had to be taken and the person that had all of that stuff had to be put into custody. Is that right?
Yes.
And then ultimately all people have the right to bond out at some point if they want to, if they can afford it.
Yes.
Okay. It's nothing unusual about somebody bonding out.
Nope.
Do you know anywhere, like for Mr. White, you indicated that he bonded out of your jail?
He bonded out of the Titus County Jail.
Okay, is that where you
That's not
work?
this. No, ma'am. I work for the Mount Pleasant Police Department.
Okay, do you guys just house your people at the Titus County Jail?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're aware at some point he bonded out of the Titus County Jail?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know where he went?
No.
Are you aware that he came back to Dallas?
No.
Okay. Based on your training and experience, are you aware of the value of like say edible marijuana or edible THC, I guess is what it would be called?
No, ma'am.
How about leaf marijuana?
It varies based on potency and so on. They're great.
Can it be a lot?
It could be.
Okay. What about, have you heard of I think young people might call it lean, but I think it's called promethazine.
Mhm.
Have you heard of that?
Yes, ma'am.
In your training experience, is that a drug that's abused by people?
Yes,
And it's like kind of like it has a street value, is that right?
correct.
People can sell it to make money.
Yes,
Okay, so it's not just like, oh, I have a cough and I went to my doctor and I have 17 bottles of promethazine, right? I mean, that's unreasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then you, are you familiar with your training experience, kind of what the street value of a lean or a promethazine might be?
no, ma'am.
Can it be a lot?
I imagine. I have no idea.
Okay. Sorry, last thing, I promise. Go ahead. Right. Is it uncommon for drug dealers to carry firearms?
No, it's very common.
Okay, and I just want to make sure I heard you said that's very common?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and there's a lot of reasons for why that might be, right?
Mhm.
One of those reasons is because they're trying to defend their drugs, right?
Possibly, yes.
And make sure that nobody robs them, correct?
Correct.
And maybe nobody steals from them, correct?
Correct.
Because it's not super uncommon in your line of work to have drug dealers robbed, right?
Mhm.
Or people steal from them, maybe because it looks like they have large sums of money.
Correct.
Okay. And so that kind of guns, drugs, drug dealers kind of all go together in your training experience.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And I-30,
Mhm.
it's a trafficking corridor, isn't it?
Yes.
Lots of people run drugs really from the west to the east. Is that right?
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
and, running them out of Texas into Arkansas and other places like that.
Correct.
It's a common route, so much so that you guys have, like officers that
Yes,
are
ma'am.
like, that's what they do.
Yeah.
They like sit on the highway because they can tell kind of people that might be doing something nefarious
Yes, ma'am.
with their drugs.
Mhm.
Okay, and so this is a part of kind of Mount Pleasant.
Yes.
What a great place. No, I don't mean that, I'm sorry. I'm gonna pass the witness this time.
State,
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
latest witness released,
No objection from the state.
advance.
Nothing further from the defense.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
State, call your next witness.
State calls Michael Hildebrand.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Michael Hildebrandt. It's MICHAEL, HILDEBRANDT.
And how are you currently employed?
I'm employed by Securus Technologies.
Can you please explain to the jury what Securus Technology is?
Securus Technologies is a correctional communications firm. They put phones and communication devices within the jail facilities for incarcerated individuals to contact their loved ones.
Now, is that just for county jail or?
No, we do DOCs, county jails, city jails, all types of jails.
And how can inmates access phone or make phone calls in the jail?
And there's multiple ways. They can either, their friend and family can have an account to where it only charges that, or they can use their debit and their commissary account and pay for it themselves.
How are inmates able to make phone calls and how to track it or how much it would cost?
Most of the time when they're incarcerated, they get an ID number and they use it. They set up a PIN number, and then therefore every time they use the phone, and they could have voice recognition or they could have PIN recognition. Either way, it identifies that inmate as making the call to whoever, whatever number they choose to dial.
And is that number unique to that inmate?
Correct.
Does that number stay with them the entire time that they are?
The entire time of that incarceration, depending on the facility, they may change the number each time they're incarcerated, but for the majority of the ones that I know of, they keep it every, if they're a frequent flyer, then they keep the same number every time.
And each time an inmate makes a call, is that call being recorded?
That is correct, unless it's an attorney.
And how is the system able to keep those recordings?
There's a there's a bank full of servers that maintains those records.
And how long does that server keep those records?
Depending on the contract with the individual county or DOC, as far as the actual recordings, but as far as historical record of a call, that'll stay a lifetime.
So say if someone was booked into a county jail 10 years ago,
It would still be in our system. Yes, ma'am.
Now, each time an inmate makes a phone call, is there a warning that's given?
Correct. There's an admonishment at the beginning stating that this call is being recorded.
And so there's an admonishment saying that the call is being recorded, is that
Mhm.
correct?
Correct.
Is that for just the inmate to hear, or the person that they're calling?
Friend and family and inmate should hear it.
Is there any system for identifying the person in jail who is making that phone call?
I got lost. Please repeat that.
It's okay, no worries. Were you able to locate a recording of a phone call that was made by the defendant while he was still in custody?
Yes, correct.
And were those records kept in the ordinary course of business?
Yes,
And were you able to modify them and be able to put them in an order that, let's say, a person like me would be able to see?
correct. Yes.
You want me to approach?
You may.
I'm showing what's been marked as States Exhibit 681. Do you recognize this?
I do.
What is this?
It is a list of 15 calls that were downloaded, and with the file name being the unique identifier placed in the sequential order of which time they occurred.
And they also have the
Dialed phone number. Yeah,
the dial phone number,
Mhm.
as well as the call start time and end time.
correct.
Your Honor, at this time, State offers States Exhibit 681 for all purposes.
No objection.
All right, States Exhibit 681 is admitted for all purposes.
I'll pass the witness.
Defense,
No questions.
may this witness be released?
No objection from the state, Your Honor.
Defense,
No objection.
thank you, sir. State party next witness.
State will call Thomas Tedder.
Good afternoon. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Thank
Proceed, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Would you please state your name for the record and introduce yourself to the jury, and then spell your name for the court reporter first
Yes.
and last name?
My name is Thomas Tedder. Last name is spelled Tedder. I am a senior information security analyst at First Citizens Bank. Prior to that, I was an FBI agent for 27 years. The last 5, I was the laboratory director for the North Texas Regional Computer Forensics Lab. Prior to that, I worked in the Baton Rouge office out of the New Orleans division for 15 years, working in cyber crimes and doing digital forensics. Thomas, Thomas.
Thank you.
Now, this jury's already heard from Director Morris with MTR-CFL, but can you just tell the jury a little bit of the background and training that you had as it related to forensic examinations in regarding digital media devices?
Yes. So I went through IASIS training, which is International Association of Investigative Specialists training, in 2006, and became a certified forensic computer examiner. In 2008, I went through the FBI's CART program, which is the certified CART program that every examiner goes through. Throughout the years, to keep our certifications, we do training every year to keep that training up. Since I retired in 2023, I'm no longer CART certified, but I am still certified through IASIS as a CFCE.
And back in November of 2020, what was the position that you held at that time?
I was the laboratory director for the RCFL.
And were you asked to do an examination as it related to certain cell phones in this case?
Well, as the director, I actually assigned it to myself, but yes,
Okay.
just to keep backlog down, I did the phones.
And at that time, how many different examiners did you have underneath your supervision?
Approximately 16 to 18, depending on TFOs that were coming in and out.
And TFOs, I think this maybe the second time this jury's heard that term be used, but I don't think we've discussed it. What is a TFO?
A task force officer. So the RCFL is composed not only of FBI employees, but also of local police officers, task force officers that are assigned to the laboratory. If they assign a task force officer or a police officer to the lab, we work cases not only for the FBI, but also for that jurisdiction. So Plano, Richardson, Dallas, we would also bring their cases in and work them through the RCFL as well.
Your Honor, I approach.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Permission to move about freely.
Yes.
Now, retired agent Tedder, have you testified regarding forensic examinations with cell phones before?
Yes, I have.
You or many times?
Many times.
State and federal court?
State and federal court.
I'm going to show you some marked as states exhibits 714, 716, 718, and 720. Would you mind taking a look at those and let me know if you recognize them?
I think I can put these search warrants with phones. This is the rose gold phone. I know that goes with this. is a copy of this one here.
Mhm.
So it's,
So let's see, 11, 7 plus.
yep. Okay. I do recognize these.
Okay. States Exhibit 714, 16, sorry, 714, 716, 718, and 720. What are those?
742. These are the search warrants.
Okay. And are those the search warrants as it relates to seven?
Each one of these phones.
Okay, each one of these phones being 713, 715, 717, and 719.
Correct.
That has previously been put into evidence. Your Honor, we'd offered these cell phones. I believe they were record previously. We're going to offer the phones now for all purposes with retired Special Agent Tedder on the stand.
So you're offering 715, 716, 718, and 720 for record purposes?
Correct. The search warrants for record purposes only and the cell phones for all purposes.
And those search warrants are in relation to the cell phones?
Correct.
But these are, you're saying for record
Correct.
purposes? Okay. Okay, so, so we would just object and re-urge our motion as relates to, this is, these are items that were collected from an address on Britain, which is unrelated to our clients. We would re-urge to the relevance of those, and we would, I guess, also object to the physical phones coming in. I'm assuming that the court's not gonna allow jurors to turn them on and look at them and do things like that, so we would object to the relevance of the physical phones coming in.
What's the state's response?
Record's fine.
Court will admit statements 714, 716, 718, 720 for record purposes. And cell phones 713, 715, 717, and 719 for record purposes.
Now, States Exhibits 721, 723, and 724. Do you recognize those as exhibits as they relate to those 4 cell phones?
I do. These are reports that I created from the extractions of the phones.
Okay, and if you wouldn't mind, 721, this extraction, it's got your initials on it, correct?
That's correct.
And this is, I'm going to say, a duplicate. Readable extraction.
This is a report created from the extraction.
Okay. And
the extraction is the raw extraction. The report is what is generated from the extraction.
And that makes it readable for us.
Makes it human readable. Correct.
And 721, which phone does that correspond to?
That's going to be the Apple iPhone 6.
Okay.
1633. So I got to figure out. It's going to be 34. It's going to be the rose gold one here. This phone.
And that is, for the record, that is States Exhibit 713. States Exhibit 722. Do you recognize that?
I do.
And what is 722?
It's also another report created from the extraction from one of the phones.
And
my
which-
initials are on it.
Okay. And which phone does that correspond to?
That can 135. This phone here.
And for the record, that's States Exhibit 715. States Exhibit 723. A red iPhone.
This is this phone here. So it was an Apple iPhone 7 Plus, model number 1784.
Okay. And for the record, again, that's a black iPhone 7, States Exhibit number 719. Do you recognize States Exhibit 724?
I do.
And what is States Exhibit 7?
It's also a report created from extraction from the phone. It has my initials on it.
And does that correspond with States Exhibit 717?
It does.
And that's an Apple iPhone
11, model number 2A2111.
State would offer States Exhibit 721 through 724 for all purposes. Were these reports made at or near the time of the extraction done in this case?
Yes, and let me clarify on that, though. The first extraction was not done until July. The other three were done in January. The extraction done on the the rose gold phone had to be brute force, and it took about 6 months to get the pin for that brute force. So that wasn't done until 7/9 of.
And that was in 721. And we'll talk
That-
about brute force here in a second.
Sure.
Maintain the witness briefly on Bordier.
Yes, you.
I just want to make sure that I'm clear about what's contained on these discs. You extracted cell phone, you extracted information from various cell phones.
Correct.
And in that, and from that extraction, you generated a report.
That is correct.
So contained on these discs are what specifically?
Are the report,
Just the report,
just the report.
not the extraction.
Correct.
Okay, we don't have an objection to 724, 723, 722, or 721 with the caveat that, if he's making legal conclusions or legal findings included in these reports, we would object to that as outside the scope of his expertise.
What sort of legal conclusions?
I'm saying if they include them, that's what our objection is.
Thank you. Your objections, noted. Otherwise, you have no, objections to these being attended, correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. States Exhibits 721, 722, 723, and 724 are admitted for all purposes.
Thank you.
Now, State, would you summarize again, what each, report, which cell phone, relates to which, which report relates to which cell phone? Before you take over this one. I know 721 was regarding, State Exhibit 713, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay, what's 722?
It is related to 715, which was the Apple iPhone 11.
Is that the red phone?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
States Exhibit 723 relates to States Exhibit 719, and it is an iPhone 7 Plus. It's a black iPhone. States Exhibit 724 relates to States Exhibit 717, which is an iPhone 11A21111.
Thank you.
May I proceed?
You may.
Thank you. No, retired Special Agent Tedder, you didn't make any legal conclusions or findings in your reports, correct?
Correct.
And you familiarize yourself and reviewed 725 through 728. Do you recognize those documents?
Yes, these are our reports of the extractions for each of the 4 phones.
And those were made at or near the time that the extraction was done?
Correct.
State would offer States Exhibits 725 through 728 for all purposes, and I will describe them for the record after the temps. I'll go ahead and describe it. States Exhibit 725 is regarding an iPhone 6S
Device name is Dollar Dude. States Exhibit 726 is an iPhone 11. Device name Trap, TRAP, no space, BOI, Trap Boy. States Exhibit 727 is regarding an iPhone 7 Plus. Device name Dollar Dudes. 728 is another iPhone, it's an iPhone 11. Again, device name Dollar Dudes.
Your Honor, I'm just trying to make sure I'm keeping up. Are these the reports that are on the discs that are just in paper form?
No,
These are just the progress reports.
these
of
are the
the
progress
extractions.
report of the physical extraction from the phone, showing that the physical extraction was completed.
Of the phones that we were just talking about?
Correct.
Is there any way that I can just ask you to tell me what the colors? Because that's kind of how I have them notated.
All right, so 725
Rose gold.
goes with States Exhibit 713, which is a rose gold iPhone. That's 725. I'll give you your examination notes.
This goes to the iPhone 7 Plus. Correct.
$727 corresponds to States Exhibit 719, which is a black iPhone 7 Plus.
Correct.
States Exhibit 726 goes with a red iPhone, which is States Exhibit 715. States Exhibit 728 goes with States Exhibit 717, which is a black iPhone 11.
What's the difference between, States Exhibit 721 through 724, and then from 725 through 728? Both are reports, correct?
The 721 through 724 are the reports from the extraction, are the actual readable reports that come from the extraction, correct?
Correct.
That contains all of the data that you were
Human
able,
readable data that you can look at.
the actual extracted material in a report format.
That'd be
Readable-
correct.
Okay. 725, 726, 727, and 728 are the progress reports just showing the extraction and the progress and then them being extracted.
Okay, thank you. I just needed clarification on all which phones went with what. So I have that now, so we don't have an objection.
States Exhibits 725, 726, 727, and 728 are admitted for all purposes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay. 729 and 730, do you recognize those two documents?
Yes, these are my written reports of examination for both of the examinations that were completed.
And when you say completed, that's what that progress report is. It shows the extraction taking place and then it's completed.
Then I take that extraction and run it through the software to create a report in a human readable format.
Which are in these discs.
Correct.
And this report of examination documents everything that you've done, correct?
Yes, it documents the steps I take to complete the examination.
State would offer States Exhibit 729 and 730 for all purposes. Previously tendered to the Defense Council.
No objections.
State's Exhibits 729 and 730 are admitted offer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Permission to publish?
Yes, you may.
Now, the exhibit, retired special agent Tedder that you have in front of you is States Exhibit 721. You talked about, you brought up brute force, and now with Director Morris, we did not talk about anything like brute force being done regarding his extraction, but can you just tell this jury a little bit about what that means and like why brute force needs to be used and what the purpose is of it?
Yes. So in this particular instance, there's 3 states of a phone. It's in an off state. Once it's turned on, it's in a state that you would call BFU, before first unlock. When you take a phone out the first time, you can't use your Face ID. You can't open it up. You actually have to use your PIN code to open that phone up. Once that's done, it's in what they call an after first unlock state. So you can get an extraction from that phone a lot of times without having to do anything. In this particular instance, this phone, DL113134, was in a state of BFU, which means we could not get an extraction from that phone. We have forensic software that we use that we can hook the phone up to and start a brute force attack on that phone. That can take anywhere from 2 weeks to, at this time, it was like 39 years, depending on the complexity of 4-digit or 6-digit PIN code. After about 6 months, the PIN code was found. And once that was found, that phone, then a full extraction was done of that phone, and that report was created. That's why there's a 8251 lab case number, and then 8251 sub 3, which is the next sub that came up to do this phone.
And talk about the years again, like how long it can take sometimes to unlock or use brute force to get into a phone. Can you just talk about that a little bit more in depth?
It has gotten better over the years, and since I've left the lab, I'm not sure where it's at. But when we first started doing these brute force extractions, the proprietary software that we had purchased for the Bureau, for a 4-digit PIN code, we could get into it in a day. Once it went to a 6-digit PIN code, it went from anywhere from 2 weeks to 39.6 years. It has come down somewhat. So the manufacturer, Apple in this case, did not work very well with the Bureau. And every time we had a way to get in, they would fix that. They would plug that hole, and the proprietary software manufacturer would have to find a way around that. Once he did that, the software would be updated, it'd be tested at Quantico. Once it went through testing and validation at Quantico, then it would be shipped down to every RCFL. There were 17 RCFLs at the time.
And the more complicated phone passwords become, whether it be like instead of just a PIN, a number, but like say you start getting into alphanumeric and characters.
Once you get into that, once you get over 8 characters in an alphanumeric, it becomes impossible sometimes to actually crack the alphanumeric PIN on, or password at that point. It's not a PIN code. To do that, a lot of times we will take personal things of the owner of the phone and try to create passwords on that to try and get into the phones. But on Apple's, it's strictly a numeric PIN code, 6-digit PIN code right now, or was at the time of this extraction.
Now, prior to your testimony, did you have a chance to look at 2 binders of just a smaller sample, just some smaller generated reports from what you had put within these full reports.
I did.
And State's Exhibit 1145, is that from State's Exhibit 721?
It is. And I can tell that by the source of the data, which is DL 113134.
And that source info that's found on, for example, we're looking at page 14 under tab number 3, I think. That shows the file path or source info for the file path of where it came from.
Of this particular text chain, that's correct.
And then 1146. Did that come from, or did those come from State's Exhibit 723?
Again, this came from DL 113136.
And this jury heard earlier testimony from Director Morris about the way investigators or prosecutors, other law enforcement officers can use what's in these discs to make smaller reports that are more digestible for a jury or a judge. Is that fair?
That's correct.
State would offer State's Exhibits 1145 and 1146 for record purposes at this time. Previously tendered to defense counsel.
These are just the cell phones, cell phone
Or just a small portion.
Right, but
Yes.
we don't have an objection to those two exhibits.
Okay. This is 1145 and 1146 are admitted for record purposes only.
Thank you. I'll pass it to Commissioner Ryan.
Defense?
Just to confirm, I think I heard the prosecutor refer to you as retired special agent,
Retired supervisory special agent, yes.
retired supervisor special agent. Thank you for correcting me. You're not with this organization anymore under the FBI.
No, ma'am, when I turned 57, I had to retire.
Okay. And can you just say the acronym a little bit slower? I feel like I've heard you say what sounds like NFL or.
NTRCFL, North Texas Regional Computer Forensics Laboratory.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that I was hearing you correctly.
We often just say NTRCFL, but it's North Texas NTRCFL.
Okay. And again, your only job is to receive the request and likely a search warrant for a digital device. Is that right?
That's correct.
Receive those. Is that right?
That's correct.
And once you receive that and maybe some possible parameters, either from the law enforcement agency or based on the search warrant, you then begin your laboratory's process that then begins an extraction of a digital device. Is that correct?
Correct, depending on what is requested.
Depending on what's requested. And there's kind of a process by which you would do an extraction, analyze that extraction and pop out a report. That's one way that information, say, gets to a prosecutor, for example. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
And then there is another process, and maybe they're parallel processes, but another process where you basically just like create a carbon copy of the entire extraction and then give that whole thing without an analysis over to a potential law enforcement type of officer, or maybe even a prosecutor's office, so that they can go through it themselves.
That's correct, depending on the request.
Depending on the request. And inside of your process within the organization, you guys have checks, balances, peer reviews, various steps in the process, right? To ensure that, like, when you're creating your analysis from an extraction, that analysis is then checked by another qualified and competent analyst that says, yep, all the boxes are checked. Is that right?
Yes, it goes through two problems. We have a technical review, and then we have an administrative review.
And that exists inside of your organization.
That is correct.
Okay. Now, if you were, and ultimately, if a report is produced, it has absolutely gone through that two-step process. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. But when you're creating this other just extraction, carbon copy, turn over to, say, law enforcement, for them to be able to peruse through it or look at it themselves or create whatever it is that they want to create from it, that happens outside of your organization.
No, ma'am.
Okay, so if you make a carbon copy of an extraction, you put it in the readable form. I don't want to skip that part. You put it in a readable form because you have to have a way to look at whatever's been extracted, right?
Correct.
But there are requests nowadays in particular where law enforcement is saying, hey, we don't need for you to do an analysis of this. We just want the whole thing and we'll take it from there.
And that happens quite often.
And that happens quite
But
often.
it still goes through our tech review, making sure that we've got our hashes are correct, and we've done that, and then the admin review to make sure that we've followed all the proper procedures.
Okay.
So that's done every time on every examination, whether or not it's a full examination and we make an opinion of that evidence, or we just make a copy for the detective or the agent to go through.
Okay.
But those two processes happen on every examination.
Okay. And then on the examination where it's the carbon copy, it's gone through all your checks and balances.
Correct.
But ultimately it gets to another agency that's not you, right?
Correct.
And they perform whatever kind of analysis they perform, correct?
Once it leaves the lab, yes, we don't track it.
And you don't know whether or not they have an additional internal process to make sure checks and balances and peer review and all of that is done. That's outside of you and it doesn't have anything to do with you.
We track the evidence when it comes in the door, and we stop tracking the evidence once it's returned to the agency. Correct.
Thank you. No further questions.
Right, state,
Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
latest witness be released?
No objection.
No objections for the litigants. Thank you, sir. You're free to leave. State, call your next witness.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes. gentlemen, we're going to break for the weekend. I'm sure y'all are looking forward to it. So y'all, get some rest. Remember, you're still under my instructions. Don't talk about this case, don't discuss, you haven't received all the evidence, okay? So it's not time to deliberate. So free your mind, enjoy the weekend, and come back on Monday morning at 8:30, all refreshed, okay? All right, see y'all on Monday.
All right.
Have a good weekend.